We're gonna get this party started. We're gonna get this party started. We're gonna get this party started. It's a Bible reading party. We're gonna get this party started. We're gonna get this party started. We're gonna get this party started. It's a Bible reading party. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. We're gonna get this party started. And good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Miss Nicole. Early bird in the room. How are you today? The time is now 7:12 a.m. Central Standard Time. It says 7:11 on my laptop. 7:12 here. So I think I'm finally caught up. No more running late for work. Saturday morning. It is July 18th, 2020. It is week 29 of reading the Bible. Oh yeah. Eva Frazier's in the house saying good morning, Kenya. Bless the like button. I'm exhausted. Shoo, you and me both, sister. Exhausted. I wonder what you've been up to. This has been a busy time for many people. Give my thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you for blessing the like button. Much obliged. Much obliged. I do have on my microphone today, don't I? Yes. I'm tired. It's been a long week. I hate working Saturdays. Well, Friday nights. I hate working Friday nights. 6 days a week should be illegal. It should be illegal, I say. But you take what you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. I'll throw a fit, all right. I'll throw a fit. Okay. Make sure I can see myself. So yes, it is Saturday morning. Happy Saturday or happy Sabbath. I'll let you guys look that up. This is my Bible. This is what I will be conducting the Bible reading party with today. It is the New Believer's Bible Compact Version, First Steps for New Christians. This is my Compact Bible Dictionary. It's the Nelson's Compact Series. And with this, I look up historical information, ideas, concepts, terms, doctrines, and it also helps me know how to pronounce these biblical names. Outside of those two, I've got this right here that I'd like to show you. It is my study guide. It's what's keeping me on track. This is A Woman's Guide to Reading the Bible in a Year by Diane Stortz, a life-changing journey into the heart of God. In the gold box, you will see the word read on the left side, and you will see checkpoints on the right side. And that's what I've been reading this week. 2 Chronicles, 7 through 9 on Monday, 10 through 12 on Tuesday, 13 through 15 on Wednesday, 16 through 18 on Thursday. Yesterday I read 19 through 21, and this morning, I'm reading chapters 22, 23, and 24. And the checkpoints, I think the checkpoints are a little bit out of order, unless I missed something, because I don't remember reading about no monkeys. Did you guys remember me mentioning monkeys? Unless I overlooked something. These are the checkpoints for this week. Glory in the temple. I believe glory in the temple was probably Monday or Tuesday when the priests were inside the temple and they were conducting their service, the worship, and the cloud came in. Remember I talked about that? There was a cloud coming in, and it was so thick they couldn't even see. They had to stop the worship service because the Lord God was in that cloud. The power and the glory of the Lord was in that cloud. So I'm thinking that was that first checkpoint. Glory in the temple. 12 monkeys, not 12 monkeys. That's a movie. That's a really good movie too. No, monkeys on merchant ships. Talk about Brad Pitt. Good grief. Monkeys on merchant ships. I do not remember reading about that, so I'm either going to read about it today or tomorrow. A severe foot disease. That was that Jehosaphat? That was Jehosaphat that we read about yesterday or the day before. Sheep without a shepherd. I do remember reading about that. And a letter from Elijah. That was definitely yesterday. Yeah, those last two. Sheep without a shepherd and a letter from Elijah. Those two checkpoints were covered yesterday. So keep your ears perked up so you can help me out and let me know when I'm hitting one of these checkpoints. For people who are watching this for the first time ever that are new to the channel, this is what the book actually looks like. This is the cover of the book, and links are now available. If you want to get this for yourself, you can go to the description box and you can find links of all of the literature and resources that I'm using. Alongside that, speaking of resources, this is a resource that you can check out in your own free time at your leisure. It is The Bible in 1 Year. It's my website that I made as I'm journeying through the Bible in 1 year. So check it out, visit it. The link to this website is in the description box as well. So in case you forget what it's called, or maybe you're having difficulty typing it in and looking for it, you can go through it right here. And on this web page, you will find a place to get a Bible, or if you're feeling charitable, you can give a Bible. Give a Bible there. That's a link that will send you to an organization that helps to distribute free Bibles around the world. This is a link, an affiliate link, so that if you want to buy a Bible, you get a Bible and I get a small commission, no extra charge to you. There is a blog on here, which I should be adding to shortly, I think. No, actually I did. No, yep, I'm due for something new on here. I've got 2 blogs on here that you can check out. And then on the resources page, there's some extra information for people who want to challenge themselves to read through the Bible, maybe in a year, maybe in some other time frame. But yes. The Bible in 1 year, the same guide that I just showed you. You can go on here, you can kind of preview it and flip through the digital pages and see what I see when I am looking through this guide. On that note, let's get back to the Bible reading party. Because ain't no party like a Bible reading party, because a Bible reading party don't stop. Hey, oh, hey.
Thank you so much for watching.
Oh my goodness.
Support the channel by...
Not one of those days. I'm hitting the wrong buttons. Okay, I'm back. When you can see me, I can see you. For the person that day that said, you don't look down at your messages. I was trying to tell you something. I see you now. I see you. I see that the Wiz came in and says, morning, I made it. Good to see you. You came in 5 minutes ago. It says 7:13 you came in, and it's 7:18, so you came in probably right as I was switching the screen. Welcome. And to those who like to hang out in the background and just listen, welcome. I am so excited. I don't know why, but I'm excited. I'm excited to be reading through the Bible. Reading through the Bible. I do this every single time. I say what I'm going to read, and then I forget what I'm going to read. Then I have to go back and look, because sometimes I don't put it on the title of the video for you guys to see. Week 29, Good Kings, Bad Kings. I'll probably read this again tomorrow to sum it up. Okay, 22 through 24. So let me update that right now before I forget. We're reading 2 Chronicles 22 through 24. Now, I usually do that before, but sometimes I don't. So if we're reading 22 through 24, let's do a recap real quick. Real quick. This is what happened yesterday. In 2 Chronicles 19, Jehosaphat appoints judges. Now, these aren't the kind of judges that we read about in Judges, like military leaders. These are actually like order in the court. The judge is eating beans. The wife is in the bathtub counting submarines. How many did she count? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a jump rope song. No, these were actual judges that were meant to help govern the people, and the responsibility of these judges were to make wise decisions based off of the laws that people broke between the Israelites and God, the law, capital L, and then they were also supposed to judge like civil matters, like between people, lowercase l, law. So that's what happened in chapter 19. Yep, that was in like verses 11 through, no, yeah, that was the last verse. Verse 11. Amariah, the high priest, will have final say in all cases involving the Lord. That's the first one. Zebediah, son of Ishmael, a leader from the tribe of Judah, will have final say in all civil cases. So there's two different like divisions of what's being judged on. In chapter 20, it was talking about war with surrounding nations. Yes, I'm trying to think. Was this war just happened to be, or was it because like earlier in chapter 19, one of the prophets was like, Jehoshaphat, it probably was not a good idea that you were running around with Ahab. Ahab is a wicked person. The Lord does not like the fact that you aligned yourself with him. And even though you did remove some of the Asherah poles, and get rid of a lot of the pagan worship. But I'm thinking all these wars, like all these people just coming against them, I'm thinking that was kind of like God saying, like, oh, if you want to run with the enemy, I'm going to let you, deal with some enemies. That's just my personal thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments or in the live chat. But this is what happened in 20. So there was a war with surrounding nations. And that was the Moabites, the Ammonites, some of the Meunites, and I thought the Ethiopians were here, but maybe not. Maybe not. So all these people came against Jehoshaphat's people. He was terrified. At this point, he called a fast. No eating. Everybody stop. We need the Lord's help. Let's fast and pray, right? So he turned his faith towards God. And at that, all the people came together. This is still chapter 20. All the people came together. Let's see, where was that at? That was verse 13. Okay. All the way down in verse 13, he's crying out for help. Lord, we don't know what we're going to do. We got all these enemies coming toward us. Verse 13 says, as all the men of Judah stood before the Lord with their little ones, wives and children, the Spirit of the Lord, capital S, the Spirit of the Lord came down upon one of the men standing there. His name was Jahaziel, son of Zechariah, son of Benaiah, son of Jael, son of Mattaniah, a Levite who was a descendant of Asaph. And this is what the Holy Spirit said through this person. Listen, all you people of Judah and Jerusalem, listen. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. I'm basically going to defeat your enemies for you. Don't worry. You don't even have to fight. Go out there as if you're going to fight, but don't fight. I'm going to handle this. And they went out there, and they had musicians in the front leading the troops. And the musicians and the singers were out there praising the Lord. This is what they said in verse 21. Give thanks to the Lord. His faithful love endures forever. Or something like that. But they were out there singing. And as soon as they start singing, all these people, because it was like, what was that, three or four different enemy territories, start fighting within themselves. They started fighting within themselves, and the Israelites didn't have to lift a finger. They didn't have to do anything. Just their praises defeated the enemy. You hear what I'm saying here? Just their praises alone defeated the enemy. And yeah. So that's what happened in chapter 20. In chapter 21, let's see, also in chapter 20, there's a summary of Jehoshaphat's reign. And then in chapter 21, Jehoram, his son, Jehoram, rules in Judah. I think Jehoram was not a very good guy. I'm trying to remember. Yep. Verse 4 says, when Jehoram had become solidly established, making sure, hey, everybody help support me. I appreciate your vote. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to be the new king. Yep. I need all your support. Come on out. Support me. And then when he became solidly established as king, he killed all his brothers and some of the other leaders of Judah. So, yeah, he was pretty wicked. See what else happened. Okay, next is chapter 22. Ahaziah rules. Oh, no, that's today. That's today. So that was a brief summary of what happened yesterday between chapters 19, 20, and 21. That's pretty jacked up, isn't it? Killing all your brothers and then some of the leaders. You know who else did something like that? You guys remember? And I was just talking to one of my coworkers about this too. This is back in 2 Kings. Somebody else who was pretty jacked up. In chapter 11, 2 Kings, chapter 11, Queen Athaliah. Queen Athaliah rules in Judah. She took over, and once her son died, once her son died, she took over, and then she began to destroy the rest of her family. She began killing the sisters, the daughter, infant son, and yeah, she was trying to knock everybody off to preserve her place on the throne. So it's a lot of evil stuff going on, and what I was talking about, my why these people do these things. Spirits, demonic activity. Because then people in their right mind don't do things like this, right? But I digress. Let's jump into chapter 22 right now. Chapter 22 says Ahaziah. I wonder if that name is in here. Because I hate it when I'm pronouncing it improperly. If I can find it, I'm going to make sure I start off on the right foot. Ahaziah. I was right. Okay. When I get done with this, I'll read a little bit into this person. Ahaziah, that is how you pronounce it. And the name means the Lord sustains. The Lord sustains. That is how you pronounce it. That's the meaning of the name. And I'm going to jump into this dictionary in just a second. Chapter 22. Ahaziah rules in Judah. South side. Then the people of Jerusalem made Ahaziah, Jehoram's youngest son, their next king, since the marauding bands who came with the Arabs had killed all the older sons. So Ahaziah, son of Jehoram, reigned as king of Judah. Ahaziah was 22 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 1 year. His mother was Athaliah. Oh, this is a recap. This must be a retelling. So you guys already know what's happening. Ahaziah was 22 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 1 year. His mother was Athaliah, a granddaughter of King Omri. Ahaziah also followed the evil example of King Ahab's family, for his mother encouraged him in doing wrong. That's where he got it from, because that's what I was just reading about. He just killed all his brothers. And now, well, you're going to find out what the mother did. Ahaziah also followed the evil example of King Ahab's family, for his mother encouraged him in doing wrong. He did what was evil in the Lord's sight, just as Ahab's family had done. They even became his advisors after the death of his father, and they led him to ruin. Ruin. Following their evil advice, Ahaziah joined King Joram, the son of King Ahab of Israel, in his war against King Hazael of Aram at Ramoth Gilead. When the Arameans wounded Joram in the battle, he returned to Jezreel to recover from the wounds he had received at Ramoth. Because Joram was wounded, King Ahaziah of Judah went to Jezreel to visit him. But God had decided that this visit would be Ahaziah's downfall. While he was there, Ahaziah went out with Joram to meet Jehu, grandson of Nimshi, whom the Lord had appointed to destroy the dynasty of Ahab. While Jehu was executing judgment against the family of Ahab, he happened to meet some of Judah's officials and Ahaziah's relatives who were traveling with Ahaziah. So Jehu killed them all. Then Jehu's men searched for Ahaziah, and they found him hiding in the city of Samaria. They brought him to Jehu, who killed him. Ahaziah was given a decent burial because the people said he was the grandson of Jehosaphat, a man who sought the Lord with all his heart. But none of the surviving members of Ahaziah's family was capable of ruling the kingdom. Samaria. I read that heading yesterday or 2 days ago. Samaria and the Samaritans. Very interesting background. mixed heritage, lots of animosity there. Verse 10 talks about Queen Athaliah rules in Judah. When Athaliah, the mother of King Ahaziah of Judah, learned that her son was dead, she began to destroy the rest of Judah's royal family. But Ahaziah's sister, Jehosaphat, the daughter of King Jehoram, took Ahaziah's infant son, Joash, and stole him away from the rest of the king's children who were about to be killed. She put Joash and his nurse in a bedroom. In this way, Jehosaphat, wife of Jehoiada the priest and sister of Ahaziah, hid the child so that Athaliah could not murder him. Joash remained hidden in the temple of God for 6 years, while Athaliah ruled over the land. I wonder if I'm saying her name wrong. I think it's Athaliah. I think I was saying it when I first started using her name. I think it's Athaliah. But you never can be sure. Oh, it is Athaliah. Yeah, it looks like Athaliah, but it's actually pronounced Athaliah. And her name actually means the Lord is strong. Go figure. A name is not everything. It's who you are and your character and your faith and obedience. But yeah, it's Athaliah. And she was trying to knock off a lot of people. I don't know what's wrong with her. Demonic activity, maybe a little whisper in the ear. Why don't you take over everything? And when I say whispers, I mean not whispers from the Lord. Let's see. That was chapter 22. So chapter 22 is complete. With the hiding of Joash remaining in the temple of God, being spirited away and saved and rescued from the murderous hands of Athaliah. Wow, lots of killing going on. Yeah, lots of murder, lots of just, I mean, it's not like they're going to war and they're fighting their enemies. This is within a family. Like, that's like if I was me or somebody in my family was to become king or queen, and just to protect themselves, that person killed everybody else in the family. Like that doesn't make sense. That's pretty sick. Chapter 23 starts right now. Let's talk about revolt against Athaliah. In the 7th year of Athaliah's reign, Jehoiada the priest decided to act. He summoned his courage and made a pact with 5 army commanders: Azariah, son of Jehoram; Ishmael, son of Jehohanan; Azariah, son of Obed; and Maaseiah, son of Adiah; and Elishaphat, son of Zikri. These men traveled secretly throughout Judah and summoned the Levites and clan leaders in all the towns to come to Jerusalem. They all gathered at the temple of God, where they made a solemn pact with Joash, the young king. Now, this is a little kid, remember, he's like 6 or 7 years old. Jehoiada said to them, "Here's the king's son. The time has come for him to reign. The Lord has promised that a descendant of David will be our king. This is what you must do. When you priests and Levites come on duty on the Sabbath, a third of you will serve as gatekeepers. Another third of you will go over to the royal palace, and the final third will be at the foundation gate. Everyone else should stay in the courtyards of the Lord's temple. Remember, only the priests and the Levites on duty may enter the temple of the Lord, for they are set apart as holy. The rest of the people must obey the Lord's instructions and stay outside. You, Levites, form a bodyguard around the king and keep your weapons in hand. Kill anyone who tries to enter the temple. Stay with the king wherever he goes." This is a little boy king, we got to protect him. Verse 8 says, "So the Levites and all the people of Judah did everything as Jehoiada the priest ordered. The commanders took charge of the men reporting for duty that Sabbath, as well as those who were going off duty. Jehoiada the priest did not let anyone go home after their shift ended. Then Jehoiada supplied the commanders with the spears and large and small shields that had once belonged to King David and were stored in the temple of God. He stationed all the people around the king with their weapons ready. They formed a line from the south of the temple around to the north and all around the altar. Then Jehoiada and his sons brought out Joash, the king's son, placed the crown on his head, and presented him a copy of God's laws. They anointed him and proclaimed him king, and everyone shouted, "Long live the king! Long live the king! Long live the king! Long live the king! Long live the king!" And he said it just like that. In verse 12, let me stop really quick. Remember, every time that somebody is crowned king, they're supposed to be given this law. That started with Solomon. Was it Solomon or David? So there was a list of laws to make sure that the king stayed righteous in the Lord's eyes and make sure that the king led the people in a righteous way. So I don't remember reading this every time somebody becomes king, but it's interesting that it is actually emphasized right here that when little baby King Joash is crowned king, they did present him with a copy of God's laws. Okay, here's verse 12, the death of Athaliah. When Athaliah heard the noise of the people running and the shouts of praise to the king, she hurried to the Lord's temple to see what was happening. When she arrived, she saw the newly crowned king standing in his place of authority by the pillar at the temple entrance. The commanders and trumpeters were surrounding him, and people from all over the land were rejoicing and blowing trumpets. Singers with musical instruments were leading the people in a great celebration. When Athaliah saw this, she tore her clothes in despair and shouted, "Treason! Treason!" And she said it just like that. Then Jehoiada the priest ordered the commanders who were in charge of the troops, "Take her to the soldiers in front of the temple and kill anyone who tries to rescue her." But the priest had said she must not be killed in the temple of the Lord. So they seized her and led her out to the entrance of the horse gate on the palace ground, and they killed her there. Verse 16, Jehoiada's religious reforms. Then Jehoiada made a covenant between himself and the king and the people that they would be the Lord's people. And all the people went over to the temple of Baal and tore it down. They demolished the altars and smashed the idols, and they killed Matan, the priest of Baal, in front of the altars. Jehoiada now put the priests and Levites in charge of the temple of the Lord, following all the directions given by David. He also commanded them to present burnt offerings to the Lord as prescribed by the law of Moses, and to sing and rejoice as David had instructed. He also stationed gatekeepers at the gates of the Lord's temple to keep out those who for any reason were ceremonially unclean. Then the commanders, nobles, rulers, and all the people of the land escorted the king from the temple of the Lord. They went through the upper gate and into the palace, and they seated the king on the royal throne. So all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city was peaceful because Athaliah had been killed. That is chapter 23. And unless there's any questions, I don't see any questions. Questions? No. I'm going to start chapter 24 right now. I'm talking about Joash repairs the temple. But first, I am going to take a quick reprieve because I said I was going to read from this dictionary here. The first one was Ahaziah. And his name means the Lord sustains. The son and successor of Ahab and the 9th king of Israel. Ahaziah reigned from 853 to 852, just 1 year, remember? He was the son of Jezebel. Ahaziah, followed policies that showed evidence of his mother's pagan influence. After reigning only 2 years, he fell through the lattice of his upper room in Samaria. You can read about that in 2 Kings, chapter 1, verse 2, and was seriously injured. Sending his messengers to ask Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron, about his recovery, Ahaziah was frustrated when the prophet Elijah interrupted their mission and prophesied Ahaziah's death. Enraged by Elijah's prediction, Ahaziah tried to seize him, but the men sent to capture the prophet were destroyed by fire from heaven, and Elijah's prophecy was quickly fulfilled. At the time of Ahaziah's ascent to the throne, Mesha, the king of Moab, rebelled because of the tribute imposed on him by Omri. Now, tribute is like money. It's kind of like, hey, we here to take over. You can still rule, but all that money, all that tax money and revenue, you can pay us. Just a small protection fee. You know what I'm saying. That's what that tribute is. Ahaziah formed an alliance with Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, to build ships and trade with other nations. God judged this effort, and it failed. And let's read real quick about Athaliah. She's a maniac, trying to kill everybody. But little baby Joash got survived. Okay, here it is, Athaliah. And remember, her name means the Lord is strong. Why she didn't live up to her name, I don't even know. It says the queen of Judah for 6 years. Athaliah was the daughter of King Ahab of Israel. Presumably, Jezebel was her mother. Athaliah married Jehoram, or Joram, son of Jehosaphat, king of Judah. Jehoram reigned only 8 years and was succeeded by his son Ahaziah, who died after reigning only 1 year. Desiring the throne for herself, Athaliah ruthlessly killed all her grandsons. You know what I'm saying? I mean, really, who does that? Except the infant Joash, who was hidden by his aunt. Athaliah apparently inherited Jezebel's ruthlessness. She was a tyrant whose every whim had to be obeyed. As her mother had done in Israel, Athaliah introduced Baal worship in Judah, and in doing so destroyed part of the temple. Joash was hidden in the house of the Lord for 6 years, while Athaliah reigned over the land. In the 7th year, the high priest Jehoiada declared Joash the lawful king of Judah. Guards removed Athaliah from the temple before killing her to avoid defiling the temple with her blood. Athaliah reaped what she sowed. She gained the throne through murder and lost her life in the same way. She also failed to thwart God's promise because she did not destroy the Davidic line through which the Messiah was to be born. That's the 2 entries for today, Athaliah and Ahaziah. Ahaziah and Athaliah. All right, this is the final chapter for today. This is chapter 24. Joash, little baby Joash. I wonder, is that where the name Josh comes from? Or is it more like Joshua? Sounds like Josh. Okay, Joash repairs the temple. Joash was 7 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 40 years. His mother was Zibiah from Beersheba. Joash did what was pleasing in the Lord's sight throughout the lifetime of Jehoiada the priest. Jehoiada chose 2 wives for Joash, and he had sons and daughters. At one point, Joash decided to repair and restore the temple of the Lord. He summoned the priests and Levites and gave them these instructions. Go to all the towns of Judah and collect the required annual offerings so that we can repair the temple of your God. Do not delay. But the Levites did not act immediately. So the king called for Jehoiada the high priest and asked him, why haven't you demanded that the Levites go out and collect the temple taxes from the towns of Judah and from Jerusalem? Moses, the servant of the Lord, levied this tax on the community of Israel in order to maintain the tabernacle of the covenant. Over the years, the followers of wicked Athaliah had broken into the temple of God, and they had used all the dedicated things from the temple of the Lord to worship the images of Baal. Good grief. So now the king ordered a chest to be made and set outside the gate leading to the temple. It's a collection box. Then a proclamation was sent throughout Judah and Jerusalem, telling the people to bring to the Lord the tax that Moses, the servant of God, had required of the Israelites in the wilderness. This pleased all the leaders and the people, and they gladly brought their money and filled the chest with it. Whenever the chest became full, the Levites would carry it to the king's officials. Then the court secretary and an officer of the high priest would come and empty the chest and take it back to the temple again. This went on day after day, and a large amount of money was collected. The king and Jehoiada gave the money to the construction supervisors who hired masons, and carpenters to restore the temple of the Lord. They also hired metalworkers who made articles of iron and bronze for the Lord's temple. The men in charge of the renovation worked hard and made steady progress. They restored the temple of God according to its original design and strengthened it. When all the repairs were finished, they brought the remaining money to the king and Jehoiada. It was used to make various articles for the temple of the Lord, articles for worship services and burnt offerings, including ladles and other articles made of gold and silver. And the burnt offerings were sacrificed continually in the temple of the Lord during the lifetime of Jehoiada the priest. Jehoiada lived to a very old age, finally dying at 130. He was buried among the kings in the city of David, because he had done so much good in Israel for God and his temple. Verse 17 says Jehoiada's reforms are reversed. But after Jehoiada's death, the leaders of Judah came and bowed before King Joash and persuaded him to listen to their advice. They decided to abandon the temple of the Lord, the God of their ancestors, and they worshipped Asherah poles and idols instead. Because of this sin, divine anger fell on Judah and Jerusalem. Yet the Lord sent prophets to bring them back to him. The prophets warned them, but still the people would not listen. Then the Spirit of God came upon Zechariah, son of Jehoiada the priest. He stood before the people and said, "This is what God says. Why do you disobey the Lord's commands and keep yourselves from prospering? You have abandoned the Lord, and now he's abandoned you." Then the leaders plotted to kill Zechariah and King Joash, and King Joash ordered that they stone him to death in the courtyard of the Lord's temple. That was how King Joash repaid Jehoiada for his loyalty, by killing his son. Zechariah's last words as he died were, "May the Lord see what they are doing and avenge my death." This is the final portion here. It's talking about the end of Joash's reign in verse 23. In the spring of the year, the Aramean army marched against Joash. They invaded Judah and Jerusalem and killed all the leaders of the nation. Then they sent all the plunder back to their king in Damascus. Although the Arameans attacked with only a small army, the Lord helped them conquer the much larger army of Judah. The people of Judah had abandoned the Lord, the God of their ancestors, so judgment was carried out against Joash. The Arameans withdrew, leaving Joash severely wounded, but his own officials plotted to kill him for murdering the son of Jehoiada the priest. They assassinated him as he lay in bed. Then he was buried in the city of David, but not in the royal cemetery. The assassins were Josachar, the son of an Ammonite woman named Shemaeth, and Jehosaphat, the son of a Moabite woman named Shomer. The account of the sons of Joash, the prophecies about him, and the record of his restoration of the temple of God are written in the commentary on the book of the Kings. His son Ahaziah became the next king. That is all for today. That has been 2 Chronicles, chapters 22, 23, and 24. I will leave you with this prayer in hopes that you all have a great weekend and maybe find some time to read the Bible. Dear Lord, thank you for today. This is the day that you made, and I will rejoice. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for getting me through this week. Thank you for one day off. It could be no days off, but thank you for my one day off. Oh, I pray that I am fully restored and rejuvenated by the end of this day. And in the meantime, Lord, anybody who's listening to this message today or tomorrow or whenever they watch the replay, I pray that as they are hearing the Bible reading, they're encouraged and motivated to read the Bible in their own time, so they can come to their own understanding and they can build their own relationship with you and build their faith, find their own purpose in life through you, and live their best life possible. That is my prayer, Lord. Amen. 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 Wake up, everybody. Carpe diem, seize the day.